Our next Insurtech startup presentation will be given by Tom West, a strategic relationships manager with MakuSafe. MakuSafe is using the Internet of Things, or IoT, in the factory and other settings to help manage accident and other risks.
Thank you. I'd like to start by asking you to think about a number for a moment. 1,041. That's the number of people around the world that on a daily basis die in workplace accidents, don't get to go home to their loved ones at the end of the day. That's the problem, the purpose, the mission that MakuSafe was founded to work on. We're not an Insurtech that decided to come together and build a platform and figure out what the insurance industry would buy. Instead, we're working on the fact that 5,000 people on a daily basis around the world die from work-related illnesses. And take a look at the work comp number up there. The US alone, on a weekly basis, there are more than $1.3 million paid out in work comp claims. So we created some innovative, patented wearable technology for industrial workers in the form of this armband. You see, we believe that in every industrial environment, there are clues, there are hints, and we collect those leading indicators, those clues, in a systematic way, in an automated way, and we're able to use those things to predict and prevent accidents and injuries in the workplace. We're not the only ones that believe that. If you work in work comp, you've probably heard this before. Leading indicators, near misses, the almost accidents, the value of the things that haven't really happened. They could be the holy grail of keeping people safe in the workplace. But everyone also agrees that 85, 90, some is even as high as 95, 99% of those things never get reported. So that's what we're here to do. We've created the MakuSafe system. Really, there are two halves to our solution, a hardware half and a software portion as well. The hardware portion of our solution really consists of a wearable device, IoT device that uses an awful lot of sensors to collect data from the environment around a worker. It's interesting to point out that we're not collecting anything that is personal or biometric. We don't care how many times someone has gone to the restroom today or how long they've been in the break room. Instead, we're looking at the indicators that surface around them in order to keep them safe. That wearable device sends its data back to our base station, which is a wall-mounted kiosk. Kind of looks like a time clock by design. It can be used to punch in and punch out, assign a device to workers, and that's what communicates to our cloud platform, which on any device, any screen, allows safety leaders to have access to trends, to data that has never been before possible, never been available before. This is a little bit of a closer look at our wearable. You might be asking exactly what kind of data we are collecting then. I sort of like to say we're collecting 4 types of data. First would be environmental conditions. There are some simple things like ambient light levels, temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, those types of things that have an impact on worker productivity, fatigue. And then there are the more complex things like a full noise dosimeter, which calculates sound exposure in hearing conservation programs using a time-weighted average according to OSHA guidelines. We're also capturing data about the quality of the air in the environment that employees are exposed to. So that's one, environmental conditions. 2 would be potentially hazardous human motion data. We use accelerometers on board, and we capture slips, trips, falls, worker on a fork truck who backs into racks all day long, repetitive motion, twisting, turning, improper lifting. With more data, more motion definitions, classifications will be possible for us. Any motion of a force is a motion definition for us. So that's 2. 3 would be when one of these indicators is detected, when a threshold is crossed for one of these sensors, we then listen for a beacon signal, and we can determine location within a facility or within a construction site. We send that to our cloud platform so that we can begin to see trends of where these indicators are being picked up and the frequency of them. You know, when you slip at work, what probably runs through your mind first? I hope nobody saw me. And I better not do that again, that was stupid. Not, I wonder if I'm part of a trend that's been happening on the loading dock over the course of the last 45 days, and the next person that happens to might slip and have a wrist injury that costs about $50,000. That's what we're doing automatically. And then the last type of data that we're capturing with our wearable device is really the button in the middle. When a worker pushes and intentionally holds that button, they're able to speak into the wearable and voice record a voice memo that immediately in real time goes to their safety leader. If those near misses, those observations from the front lines are so critical, we've just eliminated a huge barrier in getting more of them. People don't want to go to the safety manager's office and fill out paperwork for something that didn't really happen. But we're hearing all the time things like, I'm back here in a dark corner of the warehouse, and there's a stack of pallets that looks like it's going to fall over and kill somebody. So that data sent to the safety leader can be acted upon right away. I like to think that we're actually providing access to what I refer to as true leading indicator data. There's a lot of people who talk about that leading indicator, lagging indicator argument, but we're collecting data that's not been gathered before. This is timely, it's sent in real time, it's relevant to people's health and safety in the workplace, it's unique, they haven't been able to get it anywhere else, very useful, and easy and economical. Easy to deploy, economical, we're actually going to market, and costing in the neighborhood of about $10 per employee. So the other half of our solution is the software as a service data and analytics platform that we've built. We call that MakuSmart. This is kind of a good look at it. We are displaying data in a way that makes sure you don't have to be a data scientist to understand what's going on. If you can see a trend of slips and trips or high noise levels in a particular area, it's pretty easy to understand and drill into. We're trying to build a tool that makes it easier for safety leaders to be more effective and to do their job easier. But then we're raising that to a higher level. I kind of like to describe this as safety or risk intelligence. We're using machine learning and artificial intelligence to look for trends that may not have been noticed or correlations between data points that draw your attention to real-time risks and hazards that are happening right now. And at the same time, we're drawing attention to a particular problem, potential problem. We're also able to offer action steps that can be taken to remediate that risk on behalf of insurers, work comp carriers, agents, brokers. We're sharing data with both the end user manufacturer as well as the insurer, and we're taking in data not just from our wearable device but from third-party IoT sensors, connected factory systems and equipment, weather data, web data, anything via API that adds relevance and context to the picture of risk that we're believing we're creating. Even sports data, if that may be relevant. I wonder what happens to risk in factories the day after the Huskers play. And then we're able to provide resources. So from the insurer, if there is one involved, loss control departments have not only armies of safety specialists, hygienists, ergonomists, but also giant asset libraries, tools, resources, checklists that they want their policyholders to use. Do many of them actually get used to the level that people would expect they're used? No, probably not. They're not discoverable. So we're able to, at the moment of need, when there's a problem or a trend that's present, deploy those resources to the end user manufacturer or industrial company. And in addition to safety experts, training libraries, over time we'll be able to actually see what crowdsourced suggestions or action steps actually work in mitigating risk, solving the problem, reducing the hazard in the workplace. So that's a little bit about what we're doing at MakuSafe. We're currently deployed in 6 states. We are in environments like right out of the movies. Steel foundry, where there are furnaces operating 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Constant cloud of smoke and dust, molten orange steel being poured in the air. We're in some caustic, wet environments, lots of steel fabrication, welding operations. And what we're seeing is really amazing. We've gathered about 15 million data points to date over the last 120 days. About 75 to 100,000 of those things are indicators that would not have been detected if it wasn't for our wearable device. And no matter how you slice it or dice it, when we have conversations with our insurer, strategic partners, or the safety leaders on the front lines, or the frontline employees, first of all, they're blown away that we care enough to be involved and ask what's happening to them. And secondly, if we put even the most conservative dollar figure on some of those potential accidents that could be happening, what we're seeing is mind-blowing, more than 1,000% ROI. So with that, if you know anyone who works in work comp, if you work in work comp yourself, even if you have loved ones, family members, who work in an industrial environment, maybe they're in a safety role, please come see us at our booth. We're out in the hallway, and we're very happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to tell you a bit about what we're doing.